Most people who read 1984 miss the real warning. They see the telescreens, the surveillance, the torture chambers, but they miss the quiet, seductive danger that takes down even the strongest man. Desire disguised as freedom. George Orwell, a master of political insight, didn't just predict the rise of authoritarian regimes. He predicted how eros, sexual desire, would be used to dismantle masculine will from the inside out. In the novel, Julia isn't just a love interest. She's a metaphor, a symbol of how modern systems exploit female sexuality to manipulate men without them ever realizing it. And what's terrifying is how eerily accurate Orwell's portrayal has become in today's world. When Winston first meets Julia, she represents hope, rebellion, vitality, and intimacy in a lifeless world. But pay attention. Her rebellion is never about truth or ideology. She doesn't care about tearing down the party. She only wants to escape its pressure momentarily through secret pleasure. Her so-called resistance is rooted in the body, not the mind. Orwell is deliberate in this contrast. Winston seeks answers, memories, meaning. Julia seeks sensations. She's not fighting the system. She's simply learning how to indulge within it. This isn't freedom. It's the illusion of freedom. And Orwell warns us, the most dangerous chains are the ones you enjoy wearing. Julia's sexuality, then, is not her own. It's a tool. A leash the system can use to tame men like Winston. And the system doesn't even need her to know it. That's the genius of Orwell's prophecy. Julia doesn't have to be evil or manipulative. In fact, she's just as much a product of the system as Winston is. But because her rebellion is rooted in indulgence, it feeds the very regime she thinks she's defying. Her body becomes a pacifier. Her touch becomes a sedative. Winston, who once questioned everything, begins to drift into complacency, soothing himself in her arms while the world continues to burn. That's not love. That's defeat dressed up as romance. Orwell understood something most men today still don't. The system doesn't suppress pleasure anymore. It sells it. And it sells it as rebellion. Just like Julia, modern women are told they're fighting back when they flaunt their sexuality. They're told liberation means monetizing their body, seducing attention, rejecting commitment. And men, we're told to cheer it on, indulge, subscribe, and surrender to every urge. But who benefits? Not her. Not him. The real winners are the ones who own the platforms, control the media, and profit from attention. Just like the party in 1984, today's system doesn't care if you rebel, as long as your rebellion is hollow, as long as it doesn't change anything. What Orwell predicted was not just sexual repression, but sexual redirection. He saw how desire could be weaponized, how the erotic, once sacred or strategic, could be twisted into a leash. Julia is allowed to exist because she keeps Winston distracted. She gives him just enough pleasure to dull his edge, but never enough to ignite revolution. And that's exactly what we see in modern culture. Lust, temptation, and pleasure are everywhere, but love, purpose, and masculine focus are nearly extinct. Julia becomes the archetype for the system's ultimate weapon, the woman who thinks she's free, while unknowingly being used to pacify the very men who could overturn it. So the question isn't whether Julia loved Winston. The question is, was her love ever truly hers? Or was it manufactured by a system that knows how to use desire to destroy men? Orwell's answer is chilling. When pleasure becomes more important than principle, the war is already lost. And when a man trades mission for intimacy, he becomes vulnerable to the softest, most seductive weapon of all, a woman who thinks she's rebelling, but is really just helping the system win. In this twisted reality, freedom is a costume, and pleasure is the bait. Orwell didn't just warn us about governments, he warned us about the culture, the media, the algorithm. He saw a world where the most dangerous form of control wouldn't come through violence, but through arousal, through indulgence, through the illusion of intimacy. And he was right. The war for the soul of man is no longer fought with bullets. It's fought with bodies. And unless a man learns to master his desire, he will always be conquered by those who know how to sell it. In the alchemy of lust, you'll be taken deep into the ancient and forgotten discipline of sexual transmutation, a principle once reserved for monks, warriors, kings, and creators. Orwell understood something primal. The path to controlling a man is not through force, it's through his longing. In 1984, the system doesn't outlaw pleasure to destroy it. It regulates it to control you. It allows shallow indulgence while suppressing true intimacy, because depth breeds loyalty, mission, and meaning, qualities that threaten tyranny. The party doesn't fear sex itself. It fears sex that produces bond, purpose, or rebellion, and so it engineers desire to be hollow, chaotic, and ultimately self-defeating. Julia, in her hypersexual expression, isn't subversive. She's safe. She draws Winston away from truth, not toward it. That's the system's genius. It weaponizes the flesh to silence the soul. Winston's downfall is not just in room 101. It begins the moment he believes Julia's touch is liberation. His masculinity, once tethered to curiosity and defiance, becomes shackled to comfort and stimulation. Orwell shows us that erotic indulgence is the easiest way to sedate a revolutionary mind. The man with fire in his eyes loses it when he believes he has found pleasure. And in modern culture, men are drowning in this trap, not through physical imprisonment, but through digital submission, pornography, social media, swipes, likes, endless options with no depth. The party never had to evolve. It simply went digital, and every Julia is now on your phone. Winston wasn't stupid. He was simply human. He craved touch, intimacy, meaning. But Orwell's lesson is brutal. The system studies your needs better than you do. And once it does, it packages your deepest longing into weapons of comfort. Julia is allowed to exist, not because she resists the system, but because she fulfills a role, to siphon the fire out of men who might otherwise resist. She does it with kisses, soft whispers, shared lies about love and rebellion. She offers no revolution, only respite. That's what breaks Winston, and that's what breaks millions of men today. Look at today's world. The algorithm knows your type. She has the curves, the captions, the angles. She says what you want to hear. She wears freedom like perfume and preaches empowerment through exposure. But behind it all is a structure that feeds off your time, your money, and your attention. The new Julia isn't trying to fight the system. She is the system. She's the bait. She doesn't even need to know it. And you don't even need to touch her. You'll fall in love with the idea of her. And in that love, you'll forget who you were, what you were building, what you were resisting. The most dangerous chains are invisible. They don't clink. They don't tighten. They seduce. And Orwell warned us, not through slogans or sermons, but through story. He showed us that the collapse of masculine will rarely happen in public. It happens in bedrooms, in fantasies, in unspoken sacrifices of discipline in exchange for dopamine. What the system fears isn't violence. It fears a man who says no to his appetites. A man who denies pleasure to pursue purpose is uncontrollable. He cannot be bought. He cannot be tamed. That man is a threat. And that's why Winston had to be broken, not with fear, but with flesh. Orwell's prophecy is alive today. The telescreen is now your feed. Big Brother wears a brand logo, and Julia has millions of followers. She's not evil. She's just playing the role the system gave her. But the only way to break free is to stop playing yours. Stop being the addict. Stop being the clique. Stop being the man who trades mission for momentary touch. Erotic desire is not evil, but when it becomes your compass, you're already lost. If Orwell were alive today, he wouldn't write another novel. He'd tell you to close your phone, reclaim your mind, and remember this truth. The most effective way to conquer a man is to give him what he wants before he knows what he needs. And until you master your desire, You'll always be a slave dressed like a free man. The revolution starts where the temptation ends. Thus remember, we are Indeceptor. Becoming Indeceptor is the code they never wanted you to learn. A psychological war map for men, forbidden teachings fused with modern strategy for influence, dominance, and self-mastery. If you want peace, prepare for war. Welcome to the Indeceptor Archive, where the undeceived rise. No ads, no distractions, just pure, uninterrupted power. As a crusader of the archive, you gain infinite access to every video, every truth, every strategy, without censorship, delay, or interruption. New drops daily, delivered to you before the world sees them. Raw, unfiltered, elite. Indeceptions.com